What is up, guys? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. This is my prize picks breakdown for UFC Vegas 68. And yeah, there's actually a lot of things sticking out for this slate. Lots of stuff to talk about. I'm going to be talking about kind of the things I wrote down here, the things that stuck out the most, and see if we can make some money from a prize picks perspective on the slate. Before we do so and get into it, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. I am on 2 other shows throughout the week. At the Wednesday DFS show where we briefly talk about some prize picks, and then also Stat Diggers on Sunday with Uncle Weezy. But it's nice to come on here later in the week and just do a full breakdown, just solely focused on the prize picks. So that's what we're going to do. If you guys have not already, be sure to sign up on prize picks and use promo code PUBSPORTS. Get yourself a deposit bonus there. But I say we get into it. And we're going to start with the significant strikes, and I'll be honest, a lot stick out in these significant strikes. So we'll start with the first one, and this is going to be Ji-yeon Kim, significant strikes, 82.5. I believe this has moved a little bit throughout the week, but I like them more here. So Ji-yeon Kim is averaging 5.79 significant strikes per minute. She's attempting a lot more than that. Her accuracy is not that good, but she is facing Mandy Böhm here, who I just don't think is UFC caliber. I think this is a really good matchup for Kim. I think this fight does go the distance, and she's going to land a ton across the 3 rounds here. I think 82.5. I think that goes over. One of my favorite plays on the entire slate here. I like them more. Next, I like the Nakamura under on strikes. There it is, 49.5. So this guy is a serious wrestler, world champion wrestler, and I think he's going to use his wrestling defensively, or at least I'd like him to in this matchup against Kazama, who's very slick on the mat, very dangerous on the mat, submission grappler, right? So if he does that on the feet, I think he has a huge advantage, and on the feet, this guy chucks heat, and I see him knocking out Kazama very early on. So yeah, I like Nakamura under on the significant strikes. I think he gets it done early, and I just struggle to see him landing 50 significant strikes on Kazama without just knocking him out. Another one where I struggle to see the guy landing 60 strikes without knocking the other guy out is Kinoshita. This guy's another guy that hits like a truck, going against Adam Fugitt, who's very hittable. He showed a sub 50% strike and defense in his UFC debut, and he's been knocked out twice as well. I think if Kinoshita hits him 60 times, odds are he's probably going to go down and probably pretty early. So another one where I do like the under on strikes for Kinoshita there. Let's see what else we got. We got Tybura and another strikes here that I like. I like the Tybura over strikes. So this Tybura over on the strikes and the Kim over on the strikes are probably my 2 favorite ones in terms of the significant strikes, and that's because I think this is a heavyweight fight that's going the full 3 rounds, which we don't see that all that often. We don't see a heavyweight fight that it's favored like minus 200 to go the distance, but Blagoy Ivanov's super tough. I don't see either guy having much success in the grappling. Both guys have great takedown defense. I see this fight playing out on the feet. I think it's going to be a sloppy, greasy heavyweight fight that does go the distance, and I can definitely see Tybura landing at least 48 strikes in this matchup that does more often than not go the distance, and a lot of people are projecting it to go the distance. So I do like the over on Tybura for strikes. We're going to move away from the strikes though now, but those were the 2 that really stuck out. The Kim over in strikes and the Tybura over in strikes, and there's a couple unders that really stick out as well. I think there's going to be a lot of finishes on this card. We'll talk about some unders here. A couple stick out as well. We talked about Nakamura a little bit with the under on the strikes. I like the under in 8 minutes. I think he finishes this guy in the very first round. I think Kazama has nothing for him on the feet, and like I said, this guy hits like an absolute truck. So I like the Nakamura under 8 minutes in terms of fight time, and I like his under on significant strikes as well. Other than that, I like the Choi under 9 minutes. I wish it was under like 12 and a half, get a couple more, but I think this fight does finish within the first round and a half. Choi is a guy that's going to, go to war in more fights than not, and Kyle Nelson's a guy that can be finished. He can gas out. Both these guys can actually be finished, and both these guys have a lot of power as well. So I like the under fight time for the Choi, and I like the under fight time for the Nakamura. If I had to pick my favorite out of this section, it probably would be that Nakamura, but I like both there. And there's a lot of other things that stick out, like the Park, I think, finishes under 14.75. Just don't love it. Kinoshita, I think, probably finishes under 10. Jung can finish under 10. So there's a lot of violence, I think, that sticks out in this section. But those were the 2 that really stuck out to me the most. All right, takedowns. Nothing really sticking out here with the takedowns, to be honest. I mean, you got Tybura. One takedown, he could potentially get a sub. Jung-yeong Park, I think he could get it, but nothing I love. Park Hyun-sung. Rinya Nakamura, I don't even think he goes for takedowns. If anything, I would kind of like the under for Nakamura, but maybe he does wrestle. I don't know what the game plan is going to be. Tybura, I lean the under, but maybe he gets a takedown or 2. And Spivak, again, one takedown, and that could be it. So yeah, there's nothing really sticking out from a takedown perspective. So we can move on to the fantasy score. In terms of the fantasy score, I like the under for the Tybura fantasy score. It's sitting at 84.5, which is, that's a lot. I don't think this fight finishes. The odds are, like I said, minus 200, fight goes the distance. I don't see much grappling. I don't see much going on. I think it's a pretty solid under here. I mean, he's not finishing Blagoy Ivanov, who is next level tough. So I like the less on Marcin Tybura on that fantasy score there. And then give me the over, actually, and this might surprise some people, on the Ji-yeon Kim fantasy score. I think it's a great matchup for her, and I actually think she scores very well in this matchup. I don't see much takedown upside, but she's not going to need it here. If she wants to get takedown, she probably could, but she doesn't need it here. She's going to land strikes and land a lot of strikes, and I think all that is going to add up, and I think she does cruise over that 70.5. I think she scores around the 90 fantasy score there. So Tybura less, Kim more, a couple more spots that were sticking out there. But yeah, I think there's a lot of spots sticking out. Like I said, the Kim over in strikes, the Nakamura under in strikes, Kinoshita under in strikes, Tybura over in strikes, Nakamura under in the minutes, Choi under in the minutes, Tybura fantasy score under, Kim fantasy score over. Just a lot of things sticking out this week. So thank you guys for watching. Again, leave a like, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. It is much, much appreciated. Going to be on here every week talking some Prize Picks, trying to make some money from a Prize Picks perspective. Sign up on Prize Picks using promo code PubSports, and we will talk to you guys very soon. Best of luck for UFC Vegas 68. Talk to you guys later.